Let me
All right,
ask you
so
a
yeah,
question. What is the purpose of, because I know some of y'all are religious. What is the purpose of fasting?
for I mean, I don't know, cross religions, it's more of sacrifice to get closer to God. That's how I could summarize it.
We talk
Very
about fasting as not eating or choosing not to do something.
when you fast, it's like some people fast related to food. Like I know when I was in church, you do your fast. Sometimes is related to like just getting off of all social media. Actually, Inaj, you had did a fast that was was around social
Oh
media
yeah, we
and that
ain't see
kind
her
of
ass
stuff
for like a month
too.
and a half. I
Yeah.
remember that.
So the reason I ask is because one of the main things is it is, well, if you're religious, that part of getting close to God, but the other part is learning how to control your nature, right? Becoming more disciplined in mind and body, right?
Hmm.
And I think a lot of times when we sit there and we cave over to say, well, it's in our nature to do. We're excusing the fact that we do have an ability to
Hmm.
control our nature at times. That's what
Yep.
separates us from an animal. And one of the things that I can say, like that impressed me about my husband, which is crazy. This is how I know, because I could say he's weird. He was just very different and ahead of his time, very different from guys his age. Is
Yep.
that even at that age, I was 18 when I met him. He was already fasting on his own. He wasn't like a religious, like a Christian. It was he was fasting on his own, not like just fat, like he stopped eating pork and all of that kind of stuff back then. But he also fasted from sex. I've never met somebody that did that, right? And me being, I guess, Eve, Delilah, whoever you call it, a harlot, whatever you want to call it,
Hmm.
is that the first time I had experienced that, where he was like, "No, I'm fasting," blah blah blah. My nature was to tempt him. I was literally.
Oh,
I know that sounds
You
mean.
ain't shit.
I'm not.
you ain't.
I'm not. I'm
Who
not.
is that? She at the door. She at the
And I
door. Don't
know.
open that shit, bro.
And I know it was more about my own ego. Instead of
Hmm.
me being supportive of his fast, my ego was like, I'm going to see if I can break him. You know what I'm saying? And that's messed up. I'm seeing if
Demon,
I can break him. You know what I'm saying?
you
And
demon.
yeah, right. And
And look, he
he
didn't last
didn't.
because he fucked around and married you. He definitely didn't last through the fast.
So when he was going through that fast and he didn't succumb to my temptation, me tempting him, it gave me an even higher respect for him.
Hmm.
It was crazy. I could not believe that. Like I was just like, nah, ain't no way. It ain't
I
no.
bet at the end of that, he shot your ass through the
I,
roof,
I was
though.
about to say at
he
the
did.
end of that thing, he put her ass through the wall.
So mistaken. I love that example because like it's not the tempting part that's in a woman's nature. It's the testing how firm a man is on his boundaries. That's a part of a woman's
Okay.
nature, right?
I like the way that sounds
Semantics.
better.
She
It,
was.
it is.
I
It
was
is.
testing
Don't
his
try to
boundaries.
not demonize what the hell she did. She was. She
No,
was.
no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not. I'm not. Right?
I was trying.
It
I'm
was
not
more
gonna
so
lie.
to
I mean,
you,
we could say testing. In my mind, at that time, I know where my psyche was, and it was, I'm gonna see if I can break him.
but that's. But here's the thing, right? When
Devil.
I say it's in the nature to test,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of where your psyche was. At
Mm-hmm.
the end result is when he stood on his boundaries, you gained respect. If your psyche
Absolutely.
was to tempt, if like it was in your nature to just tempt, you would have just been like, oh, this isn't working and have moved on. Right? Because
Mm-hmm.
there are women that work like that. But the thing is when a man stands on his boundaries, when a man's fixed boundaries are unmovable, there is an immense amount of respect that a woman gains for you. She doesn't always like it. She
Mhm.
doesn't always like it, but not everything has to feel good. There's still gained respect there, right? And I think that's the part of the conversation that tends to get missed of like, well, you know, what was I supposed to do? Well, now that woman knows she has that leverage over you, right? And like Marcus talks all the time about like the leveraging in a relationship. If your boundaries are as flexible as a rubber band, there's not going to be a whole lot of respect. And what you're creating is more women that you complain about in that situation. So, yes, it is really challenging, right? I understand the way testosterone works and how much is pumping through y'all's veins, right? I understand the animalistic nature. I get it. But if the end result is to have a relationship where you maintain respect and leverage, there needs to be some sort of sacrifice. There needs to be some sort of discipline in the way that you move. Like, I hate that I'm saying this on the internet, but not all vagina is good vagina, right? Like, you
Oh,
can't.
we could have told you that.
That's a fact.
You want to take a poll?
You can't just like. You're working against your desired goal by just slinging D to everything. Like,
And the
you
worst
really
part is
are.
that you don't know it's not good vagina till you hit
I
it,
understand. I get it. I get it. But like, at some
Do
point,
you? Do you?
I
Do you know how it
have I
feels?
demonstrated that I don't. Have
I'm
I
just
given
saying.
you any inclination that I don't get it?
I'm just saying, like
But so am I.
just the tip. You know what I'm saying? You know,
I
you'll
I
never get
I,
that feeling.
I
Just how,
understand. I understand. I also understand how manipulative women can be. I understand the lengths that women will go to test a man's boundaries. I understand what those extremes look like. I may not exercise them myself, but that does not mean I don't know women that will go to those lengths or have not met women that will go to those lengths. I understand. But at the end of the day, if your goal is to get to that destination, what are you doing to get there? Right? The same way that we say, hey, there are women who really enjoy sex, right? There are women who truly enjoy sex. But if their goal is marriage, what is the advice we give them? Keep your knees together.
Close your goddamn legs.
Right. So, if we're asking women to make that sacrifice in order to get to their goal, how is it? Because, Harrison, you were talking about fairness earlier. How is it then fair, in your words, to not ask men to make a sacrifice to get to the goal that they're trying to attain?
Is it the same goal though? I'm sorry. Hold
So,
on.
it's the same goal for people who desire marriage.